This week on Full Throttle TV, we sit down with funny car driver Ron Capps.
It's like driving down the road in a convertible on a nice day with Metallica cranked up.
Take you behind the scenes and in the pits with some of the most interesting people out at the track.
Before I was wearing like 5-inch stiletto heels, and that gets a little rough. You know, the track is hot and it's sticky, and you never know you're gonna take a spill.
And check back in with Pro Stock's Queen of Speed, Erica Enders.
To win in Pro Stock would be just like it for me.
That's all ahead on this brand new edition of Full Throttle TV. Drag racing fans, welcome to the NHRA Western Swing as Full Throttle TV gets right into the middle of the action here in Sonoma, California for one of the most thrilling races in NHRA drag racing. I'm your host, Abby Tubbs. Today, Full Throttle Energy Drink and FTTV will bring fans closer to the action with compelling features and in-depth interviews with some of your favorite NHRA personalities. Today, we'll start things off by hearing from one of our favorite racers on tour, DSR funny car driver Ron Capps. An extremely skilled racer and an avid music fan, Ron rocked and rolled his way to a Wally at this same track in 2010. Recently, I sat down with the Napa funny car driver to talk about his past success here in Sonoma, California, and his quest for his first ever Full Throttle Championship. Let's check it out. We're joined on our Full Throttle TV set with Napa funny car driver Ron Capps, one of our favorites. Ron, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks, Abby. It's always good to be here on Full Throttle TV.
So we're back in Sonoma. You've had a lot of success here, and you won here in 2010. Are we looking for that Wally in 2011?
Yeah, I could not wait to get back here. You know, you don't forget where you won last, because everybody talks about, okay, it's been this many races, it keeps going. But I always love coming here. It's kind of a home track, and I grew up just a couple hours south of here, and I lived here in the Bay Area for quite a while, met my wife, had our kids here, so it is home for me.
Well, you have a lot of fans out here at the track. We were just walking over, and about 20 people stopped to ask you for your autograph. How do you keep in touch with all your fans?
Mostly thanks to you guys, a lot of Twittering here lately. I've kind of gotten on that bandwagon and the Facebooking, and it's amazing. You know, it amazes me still that people are that interested in what I'm doing away from the track, and it's cool, I think. And once you start knowing that, you know what they want to know what you're doing, they're intrigued by it, then you start throwing a little more out there and a little more out there, and it's sort of like a reality show through space. You know, they can follow you, and it's neat. Sometimes I put things on and I go, nobody really cares about this, and you'll get a bunch of responses, so it's fun.
Well, us who have never been down the track going 300+ miles an hour, or can even imagine doing it, have no clue what it would be like. Do you ever get scared the couple hours leading up to it, or have fear going into it? What's going through your mind knowing that you're going to be going down the track that fast?
I'm not sure it's fear. You definitely get apprehensive, and there's a little bit of fear. If you don't have that, I think something's wrong with you. But it's more just excitement, nervous excitement. For me, you know, I get in and I get some good rock and roll on in the tow car with my guys and get thumping, and then put the helmet on and get in the car. And a lot of times I'll be doing the burnout, and still that last song I heard, I'll still be kind of dun, 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 you know, in the car, and that takes me away from all the other stuff. And when I roll up the stage, that goes out, the light comes on, away you go, and the wind light comes on. It's like driving down the road in a convertible on a nice day with Metallica cranked up. It's nothing better than that whole feeling from the staging lanes to a wind light. So, I forgot what you asked me, but I was going somewhere with that, wasn't I?
Well, we can just go into that. We love rocking with Ron, and he likes to wear himself by rocking out. Do you wear the nice wig that we saw you down the track?
You wouldn't believe how many people want that wig. I felt like, I look back at it, and I look like Slash's brother from Guns N' Roses. So I may have to auction that wig off at the end of the year. everybody, welcome back. Another episode of Rockin' with Ron. I'm sure you're digging the hair. Well, we're going back in time. 1983 specifically. Ronald Reagan was president. Leg warmers were hot. Didn't have iPods. We had Walkman back then. Remember those? And we're going to talk about big hair bands of the 80s. And what bigger hair can you talk about than Dee Snider and Twisted Sister? I wanna rock. Remember those guys? I remember the videos that came out on MTV. That's as big hair rock as it gets, and I guarantee anytime I put that back on, it sets the tone for the rest of my day. Other NHRA drivers that might be into 80s rock. I would say for sure Tony Schumacher. Now Tony we know is a big rap fan. He loves Stephen Pearcy and he's always hanging out. So I could picture Tony listening to rap for sure. And how about my boy Beckman? Beckman, I picture definitely listening to the Nelson Twins. Nelson was big in the 80s and I could picture Beckman with his long hair and his El Camino cruising town listening to Nelson. And of course, 80s rock, you can't not talk about Scorpions. I remember it like it was yesterday. I had my first hot rod, a 68 Chevelle. My buddies and I would drive over the hill to this other little town and cruise around. But the thing I remember about that car was the cassette of Scorpions Blackout. It just came out. You talk about a great album back then. I could picture the album, the guy with the forks in his eyes, and every song on that album rocked, and it still rocks, and I still play it all the time. Get a chance, check it out. Scorpions Blackout.
Still to come, we take you behind the scenes to meet some of the most interesting people out at the drag strip.
He wanted me to back him up, and I was kind of scared at first, and we had a friend of ours show me how to do it, and ever since then it's been cake, and I just love it.
Nobody knows record-breaking performances quite like our own FTTV stat man, Lewis Bloom, who is standing by with a closer look at one of the speed barriers that have been shattered over the 60 years of NHRA drag racing history. LB, do your thing.
I'll tell you, Abby, what a great way to celebrate the 60th anniversary of NHRA's drag racing history by talking about the first ever 200-mile-per-hour run. And look behind me, two of the legends of the sport, the Golden Greek and Big Daddy Don Garlits. Well, Garlits is recognized by NHRA for having the first ever 200-mile-per-hour run. That was Island Dragway in New Jersey back in 1964. Of course, some people feel that it was actually the Golden Greek back in Alton, Illinois on April the 4th, 1960, who he was the first guy to go over 200 miles per hour when he ran 2:04.54. And then I spoke to Connie Coletta last year at the Big O at the U.S. Nationals, and he tells me for sure that back in 1964, on a test day before the actual race, he was the first guy to 200. I love the fact that the legends, Connie, the Greek, and Big Daddy, all believe they were the first to go 200. But of course, we'll never know, even though NHRA does recognize it's Big Daddy. More about the 60th anniversary moments, you can log on and buy the DVD on NHRA.com or vote for your favorite moment on the NHRA Facebook site. And how about the fact that I'm hanging out with a couple bona fide drag racing legends.
Here on FTTV, we like to talk to the stars of NHRA drag racing, the drivers. Well, in this next segment, we decided to take you behind the scenes and in the pits and talk to some of the people who you don't normally see in front of the camera and see what they do day in and day out here at the racetrack. I'm here at the JFR Racing Pits with Lanny McGlizzy. You see him all the time out at the track, but we really aren't sure exactly what he does. So Lanny, you gotta tell me, what are you doing down there, bending down with the temperature gauge and all that stuff?
Mainly feeling the track, see how firm or greasy it is, trying to scout for the crew chiefs so they can spend more time in the pit area and just kind of give them a heads up so when they come up to the starting line, they're not surprised and they've already got it pretty much dialed in.
So that's you like doing the dance out there, trying to see if it's sticky or not?
Everyone used to do the twist and dance, touch it, feel it, and even use a track meter to see what kind of grip number it will give you.
And we always see you with this box. This little box that you're carrying around. What's in that box?
You've got from 3 temperature guns. You've got a radar gun to know the mile per hour of the golf cart when it's spraying. You've got the track meter, grippo. You have your binoculars, because that's the most important thing. You get to see the wheel speed, tell the crew chiefs if it's slow or fast.
So it's loaded full. It's Lanny's little magical box. He knows what he's doing. You'll see him all the time with his notebook, down on the track with this box. And I guess that's why JFR is so successful. Lanny.
No, I'm just a piece of sand on their beach.
I'm standing in the pit of funny car driver Jeff Deal, and usually when we're out here at the tracks, I like to talk to the driver. But we're talking about interesting people, and someone who's very interesting to me is his beautiful wife, Lisa Deal, because we see her out there on the track backing his car up after he does the burnout. And I have to know as a girl, one, is it scary? And two, how did you get started doing that?
Oh, it's not really that scary. I mean, I guess it could be. The cars are pretty volatile, but we started out, he used to run a nitro, like Nostalgia Top Fuel, and he also ran a fuel alter called the Witch Doctor. And he wanted me to back him up, and I was kind of scared at first. And we had a friend of ours show me how to do it, and ever since then it's been cake, and I just love it because it's part of our whole deal, you know, keeping it a family and everything, so.
Do you feel funny when you say Deal because your last name is
I know.
Deal?
Let's make a deal.
When I see you on TV doing it out at the track, there's one thing that I notice more than anything, and it's the hot boots that you're wearing down there. Has that been a staple? Have you worn that to do every race?
In the past few years, yeah. Before I was wearing like 5-inch stiletto heels, and that gets a little rough. You know, the track is hot and it's sticky, and you never know you're gonna take a spill. But this, I mean, it goes with my business, it goes with what we do, and you know, I love the whole vintage world and the 60s fashions and stuff like that, so it goes in, it all ties in.
Well, you're doing a good job at it, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that can say, keep doing it because you look hot out there.
Thank you so much, right on.
Stick around, because there's even more Full Throttle TV excitement still to come.
I went out first round at one race. That was my fault for being late on the tree, but it can happen to anybody. It shows you if you're not on your game, you're going home, no matter how good of a bike you have.
Statman Lewis Bloom makes it no secret that he's good friends with pro stock motorcyclist Eddie Krawick. And recently, the stat guy caught up with his longtime friend to talk about the good old days back in their home state of Jersey, racing, and a whole lot more. Let's check it out.
I'd like to welcome to the Full Throttle TV set the 2008 Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion, Eddie Krawick. Eddie, two guys from Jersey hanging out in Ohio. Could life be better,
Yeah,
right?
who would have thought, right? We're up here enjoying ourselves in beautiful Norwalk, Ohio. The Baders give us an awesome facility here to race at, so this is a track we all look forward to coming to.
Well, one of the highlights of the season for me as a drag racing fan is the fact that Eddie Krawick at Gainesville ran almost 200 miles per hour on a pro stock motorcycle. Eddie, you were so close. What a pass. The fans just loved it.
Yeah, it was so close, but yet so far. I think it's definitely a milestone for our sport to obviously hit that 200-mile-an-hour mark, and I really wanted to be the first guy to do it. But unfortunately, it just wasn't there that day for us. I went 198.95 on Sunday, and couldn't quite squeak that extra mile an hour.
Well, so far this year, the Pro Stock motorcycle class has been a lot of fun. It always is. I love the bikes, as you know that. But how does the competition stack up this season?
Well, you look at it. A Harley won, a Suzuki won, a Buell won. They've all been top of the charts for every race. So I think competitiveness is, it couldn't be any better. I don't think you're going to get it in any better class. Plus, not to mention, the key factor here is you have multiple winners. It's not just one team dominating. I went out first round at one race. That was my fault for being late on the tree, but it can happen to anybody. It shows you if you're not on your game, you're going home, no matter how good of a bike you have.
Now, I watched you race 600 Supersport back in the day in the motorcycle drag racing series known as AMA Drag Bike Pro Star. And what did you get from racing a street bike against guys like Michael Phillips and Chip Ellis and a guy most of our fans don't know, Ricky Gadsden, some really talented people. And
Keith Dennis.
Keith Dennis, one of the all-time greats. What did you learn from that?
I'll tell you, it sort of groomed me. You look at the pro stock motorcycle category, and believe it or not, half these racers were the guys I was racing with in 600 Supersport. 600 Supersport was a class that took finesse. It took your raw talent and your ability to be able to ride that motorcycle, because it didn't make any horsepower and it was not fast. And in order to go fast, you needed to ride it really good. And I feel it honed me, and it's sort of everything that I learned there translated onto a pro stock motorcycle. Finesse and just being smooth. But I do believe the level of competition, being that I raced against the guys that I'm racing with now, sort of make me feel at home when I got here. You know, it was like, you know, Ryan Schnitz and all these guys. Like, I tell my teammates, Andrew and Matt, about it all the time. It's like I always revert back to the AMA days, and it's just something that, you know, puts a smile on my face, makes me happy because I enjoyed it. I had a good time, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm enjoying it and having a good time. And when that day comes that I'm not enjoying it and having a good time is the day I don't want to be out here anymore.
This week on Full Throttle TV, we're talking about the motorcycle class and how much the stat guy loves the bikes, and we're with Mike Phillips. Normally, I just talk about the stats, but this week, we're going to talk to Michael about racing the street bikes back in the day in AMA drag bikes, 600 Supersport, you, Eddie Krawick, Chip Ellis, Ryan Schnitz, some real talent. What did you learn from racing those street bikes?
Well, those street bikes gave me a lot of the fundamentals on learning what to do and what not to do on the bikes, and it made the job, it actually is making the job now a whole lot easier, but I mean, it taught me a lot doing that. And those guys, we had we had fun, and that's what drag racing was about, having fun back there.
It was kind of like the AAA baseball of drag racing. So many people came out of that 600 Supersport class that have gone on to success. Michael, one of the best, the big sweet guy, the fastest guy in a Suzuki. But for more about the motorcycles, some other stars, how about the quickest run of all time? Larry Spider-Man McBride. It's an injected supercharged Suzuki. He has gone in the 570s. And Michael, you've seen him go quick. No seatbelt, no roll cage to go in the 5-second zone. What is that like to watch?
Oh, that was amazing. Like I say, Larry, one of the best. You know, I mean, he had a set of kahunas on him, but he's the best.
Of course, some of the other great runs. Corey Hogan's been over 250 miles per hour on a motorcycle, and Tak Shigematsu. People love the Harley-Davidson motorcycles. That's an injected nitro bike, and he's gone as quick as a 613. Michael, good luck this weekend. Thanks for stopping by Full Throttle TV.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we go behind the scenes with Pro Stock's Erica Enders on our latest installment of Hard Work and Dedication.
We've got our work cut out for us again, but there is no easy race on Sunday.
Our FTTV cameras have been following Pro Stock driver Erica Enders and her quest for her first ever Wally win. After making it to 2 final rounds in the 2011 season, the Zaza Energy team has been working hard to take home that Wally. Recently, our cameras caught up with Erica in Sonoma at Infineon Raceway in the heart of the Western Swing and right before the countdown to 10 begins in our latest installment of Hard Work and Dedication.
I got my start back in 1992. Was the first time I got in a junior dragster. I grew up around the sport from the time I was in diapers. I was out there with my dad. I remember specifically being in the garage with him and flipping through the National Dragster. He was under his super gas car at the time. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Dad, look, they're gonna let kids drive. So he's like, what? So I crawled under the car with him on one of the rollers, and I'm like, look, you know, from 8 to 16. And he's like, really, you wanna do this? And I was like, yeah, please, can I do it? And he said, well, you make good grades as long as you make straight A's. I don't see why not. So next thing I knew, he was buying me a car, and that was 19 years ago. The memories with my dad racing mean the world to me. He's not only my father, but he's my best friend, he's my business partner. I'm pretty sure I call him like 10 times a day. You know, he's my favorite man on the planet, and he means the world to me, and definitely the reason why I'm where I'm at today. I can only hope that my dad's at the event when we finally get our first Pro Stock win. You know, it's something that I've worked my entire life for, definitely with the help of him and a whole team of people and sponsors. And you know, we have had a lot of successes, and it's been because of those people. But to win in Pro Stock would be just like it for me, because it's just something that I've dreamt about and worked so hard for my entire life, and I can't wait. I mean, it's something that I think about at night when I can't sleep.
Sunday morning, chilly morning in Sonoma, California. We're sitting number 3 right now, and I'm excited about today. We've got our work cut out for us again, but there is no easy race on Sunday. We've got Shane Gray this morning, and the guys are prepping the car right now. I'm going to warm up and go weigh and get ready to go.
So let's see what the Chevrolet can do, the most successful woman in pro stock drag racing history. Erica, left lane. Shane Gray, right. Ready, set, go. Green light and good night for Shane Gray. Erica Anders going to get the win here.
I wish her the best of luck. She's going for her first Wally. As a woman, that would be an amazing accomplishment. But you know, I have her next round. I'm not going to cut her any slack. I'm going to have to go up there and do my best and try to put that win light on.
Vincent Nobile, the Mountain View Tires, Napa Auto Parts, Dodge. Two of the great young drivers. People ask where the future stars coming from. I'll point right to the starting line. They both like the box. Ready, set, go get him. Advantage went to Nobile out of the starting gate. Let's see who's got the better race car. Erica tries to run down the top end. Erica runs him down. 6.568.
I think Erica is coming into her own, and I think that as we go into the future and as we start to get more runs under her belt, I think she's going to be a formidable competitor.
Erica Anders in the semifinals against Greg Anderson. I'll point out the obvious. First, she is the only female in the semifinals. The not so obvious, she is the only one in the Final Four that has never won a pro stock race. Key right here, as it has been in so many of the pro stock races, who will get the better Greek right off the starting line. Greg Anderson's going to sail 6.567. 6.56.7. Erica was 100 better out of the gate. That was the last thing that went right for her.
You know, I let the clutch out, had a good light, I treat him, and almost immediately it went into tire shake. I pulled second to try and get it to settle down, and it annihilated him and went way towards the wall, took a hard right, so I had to abort the run, unfortunately. And so these next few races are very, very important, and we've got to race smart, which we've been doing, and we've been consistent. So you know, I've got all the faith in the world in my guys, and hopeful that we can do well.
If you missed any part of our show, you can always catch full episodes online at nhra.com.